it was a pretty different era back in 1982. Anyone? Who is it? Flock of Seagulls, Iran. So this is what we were listening to. Hawthorn were dominant in the 80s. Now, just as a little bit of a by the way, so we've got Robert Domenico, Dermot Brereton with that stunning mullet, and John Platten just out of shop there. Now, what's interesting to note is John Platten can't remember that game because he was concussed heavily. And, you know, they let him go back and play, but he didn't know where he was. Dermot Brereton got cleaned up at the centre bounce by Mark Yates from Geelong. He had a lacerated kidney and 2 fractured ribs, but kicked 3 goals and turned the match. Dippy Domenico nearly died. He had fractured ribs and had a pneumothorax. So he actually had surgical emphysema at the end of the match, and if they hadn't have put a tube in very rapidly, he probably would have died. So it was a different time. As it was with medical education, it was a different time, and thank the Lord we've moved on from there. So it was widely regarded as the best grand final ever. Hawthorn won by 6 points against Geelong. And of course, the best film ever made, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 1986, absolute classic. So in the 1980s, at Flinders at least, there was a little bit more of an effort made at small group learning. But, you know, there was no access to lecture notes. So, you know, your recollection of what happened in the lectures was completely dependent on who had the best vision in the class to take down notes quickly. All right, and we'd often, you know, sort of, you know, we knew who had the best vision, we knew who had the best notes, and we'd sort of, you know, put the hard word, give us a copy of your notes. But that's the way it was. Nothing was given to us beforehand. There were prescribed textbooks, so we all had a copy of Harrison's or Sabiston's or whatever. And there was no documented curriculum. We wouldn't have known where to look for it. If it must have existed somewhere, but who knows? And there was no internet. So we're talking ancient history. Now, what's this? Well, this is a group of Flinders students turning over the librarian's car because there was only one copy of a text that everyone needed. I'm kidding. That was actually a riot at Glenelg, believe it or not, in 1984 after a Proclamation Day concert. So pretty wild, the 80s.